Welcome to our Morning Throners podcast.
I'm Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Glow.
And I'm Kyle.
We're the fucking Morning Throners. Welcome back to another episode of Morning Throners podcast. We're here talking Danny 4. Nelson's all fired up.
I don't know if I'm fired up. I was actually gonna say this might be the most boring chapter so far. I think.
I don't know about that. There's some fun parts.
There's some meat, but I will agree. It was kind of like
It's not the biggest rib that we've eaten, but
We're getting so much into the meat of what's going on in King's Landing. They take me out here and give me some Danny action. I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
Well,
what's
so
going on with this
now
girl
that
right
I
now.
know, like, literally everything that they're talking about, I kind of liked it, like, every person. So, like, Kyle,
Yeah, I agree.
he doesn't fully
I agree.
understand everyone. And, like, the first time I read it, I wasn't like, this kind of sucked. But the way...
There's like three handmaids in Viserys are the
there's
characters
some
in this
mentions
chapter.
about the,
All right,
the
Second
past and all
Kingdoms.
the... Yeah.
Okay.
Grow up.
some of the statues and stuff probably mean something to you guys. I'm gonna throw that out there.
The statues are cool either way.
So, Kyle, do you want to set up the setting of Bas Dothrak?
So you want to start at the gate where? Why? That's my first question. Before we get into that. Why does every kingdom have this gate that's like 10 miles away from the fucking front door, and like nobody's actually even like at
What
this
do you
one
mean?
especially? Well, what the Erie, like the gate is out there, like
That's true.
so
That's
far
true.
away, like you could just piece out around that.
So you're talking about the two giant bronze
yeah.
horses that like make a gate. I don't think that's like a defensive structure.
Oh
in
no,
any
it's
way.
not.
It does not
but
seem
it's
like
so
it.
far away.
Well,
it's
even
like-
Danny says, like, what's the point of this thing?
Yeah.
It
I
looks
think those
sweet,
are just like the
though.
two
It's pretty
biggest
sweet.
statues at the start of this like hall or like walk of statues. That's kind of what.
So do you think they stole them, or do you think they made them?
I
The
have
horses?
no idea how these horses would have got.
I'm
there.
going to say that they captured somebody and somebody came and made them.
Yeah, they said they made slaves make stuff. I bet you they made some.
Yeah,
slaves
no,
make them.
it seemed like it was like part of their mark. I mean, obviously the horses.
Yeah, they're like the horse people.
Yeah, well, and like they even get into it in this chapter. Like the men never share horses, and
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Well, share wives, but not horses.
Not
So,
horses,
all right.
yeah. Only one mount is sacred to the Dothraki, and that's the horse, not the wife.
So there's these two huge. I think they said bronze
bronze
horses,
bronze stallions,
stallions. That
100
means they got
feet,
dicks
is
on
that-
them. That means you can see their dicks, right?
probably.
Otherwise, they'd be horses.
You know that Dothraki would have
Of course, they're put
put a big
yeah,
giant
making
one
it
up there.
realistic. Yeah. Okay.
It's a big cock hanging.
Yeah.
And then so those are like the first two statues going down like a hall of statues.
And so I think
Would
they
you say
are
a
defensive.
hall?
Like
well,
a,
it's not a hall of
Well,
yeah, a walk.
I know what you're saying.
It's a
walk,
walk.
Yeah.
a street of
showcase.
statues. Street of statues.
So I think you said they weren't defensive, but I think they are in the sense of like this is the start of our fucking land. Here's all the people we fucked. Like,
Oh, it's like a
before.
trophy
Come-
case. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like
Yeah,
it's
that's pretty
kind of
cool.
like it's intimidation, defense by intimidation. How
like in The
That's-
Witcher, how you ride around with
I
all
didn't think of that.
the
That's
dead
pretty cool. I like
monsters'
that.
heads on your horse to show off what you killed, and
I
this you
thought-
just like
yeah.
take their biggest statue and bring it back.
I thought it was also cool the different types of housing, because like different slaves like just build whatever you know how to build. So it's like
Yeah.
just imagine that in like this time, like fucking houses all over the place, like a fucking skyscraper right next to a fucking adobe hut or
I don't know if it's that drastic, but
The
yeah,
city planners,
it
man.
seems definitely has a vast architecture, like differences. Yeah, types of architecture. That's inside the city, but like, was even there like a main gate to the city? There was, right? But there was nothing.
I didn't think it was
Uh,
I
special.
don't think so. They just said they kept walking.
Well, there was
They were,
like
there.
the main gate was like a mile of road that had nothing along it.
Yeah, the whole city's huge, right? Because so how the city's big enough that all the Dothraki can come back and be there at the same time, but like never more than like a few of. I don't know. They don't really give you like good percentages, right? But like all the Dothraki armies, all the different Khalasars could come back and be housed here at the same time, and the city's big enough for that. But
do,
it's
do we
rare
know how
that
many
you ever,
cows there are, or how many cows
No, we
there
don't
are?
really know. But they say it's like I'm assuming it's like basically like 50% full max.
When
at
he
most
has
time.
50,000, right?
Yeah, he
That's
has the biggest
40, I think.
Khalasar. 40,000
40
riders
mounted
plus.
riders. Dude,
I think it goes up to
that's
100,000
40,000
people.
men and 40,000 women. Plus
I think it goes up to
the
100,000. I think it goes up to 100,000 with all
With
the slaves and stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Fuck fucking insane.
And they
Just
kind of talk about
imagine
that later
seeing
when they
them
talk
walk.
about if how a Dothraki army would do in Westeros.
So how
she
many-
kind of asks Jorah about that later. He talks about like, yeah, it's like, sure, other like people in the Seven Kingdoms have armies of 40,000, but it's like maybe 10,000 of that is cavalry.
You're
Right?
grabbing
like,
the
most of that
farmers and shit.
is like bowmen and infantry, and the Dothraki, they're all bowmen and they're all on they're all like they're all archers and
they're
cavalry at the same
They're
time.
better archers than anybody else. And
Yeah, but they don't wear armor.
excellent
So-
fighters.
They
Yeah,
also don't
true.
give a fuck about dying. They're like, fuck it, I'll die.
Well, yeah. I mean, we'll be jumping around if we keep getting into that, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. So the part when they're like going through past all these statues, I think that what they're talking about is basically what Viserys had going on for him since the last Dany chapter, which I
Mhm.
guess the last Dany chapter is the one where she is out in the
Yeah,
water or out in the
field.
In the field, he
In the
gets
field.
the grass
his neck
field.
whipped.
Yeah. So what's he been up to since then, Glow?
So basically, at first he was still walking, and they were calling him Khalasar Swordfoot or something like that.
King,
Yes,
King
Swordfoot
Swordfoot.
King.
Swordfoot,
King.
and it was like something cow or whatever. And then Dany or Drogo asked Viserys to sit on a cart, and like he was taking it as a joke, and Viserys didn't know, and was like, "Yeah, I'll take the cart."
Yeah, it was,
They
it was a
started
joke
calling him
because
King Cart too.
so they have like slaves walk, but the only people who actually ride on carts and not on a horse are eunuchs, cripples, and women who are giving birth. So like
The
not
old
even
and-
women most of
old
the time,
and
but like
young.
women when they were giving birth, literally while they're giving birth. And the old and young, yeah. So then that's when they started calling them.
Well, it's like the medical cards, pretty much, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Just cripples and people
Yeah.
giving birth. Yeah, so
Yeah, and he didn't understand they were making fun of him.
yeah.
She's like, Jorah, please don't tell him what it means.
But at this point, he's right. Like by the time they get to Vasothrak, he's back on a horse, and he's like, you think
Correct.
he would be he would have been humbled a little bit from that experience,
Not
but
at
he
all.
seems.
He's just a little
No, yeah, he's an even
douchebag
bigger
cock.
dick. And
He's also a fucking freak because he gets wind of a six-breasted statue and he has to go check it out.
hey,
So
man,
he's,
I know you gotta go.
Yeah,
I
with the
hold on, I
ferret
missed
head,
that
with the
part. I
ferret
missed
head.
that part.
with
Yeah.
the ferret head.
Yeah.
That's what makes him ride away. What's
Yeah.
he like?
Yeah,
What's
no.
he say when he rides up?
Well, he said it's the trash of destroyed cities, right?
Oh yeah, Danny's like looking at all the statues, and he's like, "Oh, this is just like they don't make their
The
own."
trash
Kind of what you
of
were saying
dead
earlier, that
cities.
they don't make their own stuff. The trash
That's why
of dead
I don't
cities.
think they had the horses made for him. I think they were just winds that they had, and they're like, "Yo, let's
Those
put
are
them up
dope
here."
horses.
Well, there
let's
just
take 'em.
happens to be another horse lord people who made huge horse statues,
And their
Yeah.
hooves came together to form a gate.
and it's like built into the rock. Isn't it like built into maybe
In the
not,
show
built
it is.
into the
It's not-
mountain?
It's not mentioned here.
In the show, it is. Yeah, and here it's just like in a field.
And
That's
in
what
the
I
show,
took it as.
they're not hugged up against the mountain either. I don't think, are they?
Not the monuments. No, they're out in the open because they couldn't even see Base Dothrak from there.
Yeah, because it was like
She's
still
like,
in the
"Where is
mountains or
it?"
something.
And Jorah's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, at the mountain." So, she actually had to bang Viserys' way back onto the horse.
Yeah.
That's the best
She's
part.
Whispering in his ear.
pillow
Yeah.
tricks or
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Hey, you
once
gotta do what you gotta
once
do. You gotta use the sword that God gave you.
Well, no, I guess
Once
what
he-
I'm getting at is she's throwing Viserys all these bones this chapter, and he wants.
yeah,
to know
she's
how
trying to
do
help
it.
him out.
Yeah.
she's trying to help him out.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Even though last chapter she kind of like ended up, it seemed like she had a realization that he was like a pussy and he was
Yeah.
never like strong.
Well, I
enough to,
think
like,
this
lead.
is kind of more of pushing her that way, I guess.
Yeah,
Well, yeah. So he's he's calling it trash, and he's like, they're all savages, don't know how to build anything. All they can do is kill. Otherwise, fuck them all is really what he's getting at.
yeah. And then when he rides away, Jorah kind of says like, "There's truth to that." Are you talking about Jorah?
No, I wasn't getting there yet. This is all Viserys.
Yeah, and then he rides away to look at the statue you guys were talking about with all the boobies, right?
Well, then
Then he comes. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, then he leaves.
You're
he
skipping
gone.
some stuff.
What am I missing, Kyle?
So then he's talking shit on these people, and they're all right next to him.
But
Oh,
they
yeah, but
can't
they don't
understand what he
understand him.
says.
I'm not buying that, though. I bet some of them do.
Well, so her handmaids do, right? Because she talks to at least Doria.
Look, you want me to make predictions? You
I think she
can't
talks
act
to
so
GQ,
surprised
too.
when I make predictions. So I'm saying this is gonna come back to him because
Something I haven't thought about is who all speaks Dothraki in the Khazar. I know Jorah, Dany for sure. Doria, I assume has to.
Wait.
Doria was
You said Dothraki. Do you
Pentos
mean
girl,
common?
I mean common
No.
tongue.
Oh, common
Like who
tongue.
all would understand him? Like
I feel like that one
she
Blood
seems like
Rider
she speaks
talked
Dothraki now,
common
right?
tongue.
Because no, he was talking in Dothraki and she responded in Dothraki. That's what I was thinking.
okay.
So she must be okay at Dothraki now. One of the handmaids was supposed to teach her Dothraki.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's getting it. Yeah. They've been
just
walking
no.
for how long?
So one of her Dothraki handmaids, either Iri or Jikwi, must know common tongue because they're teaching her Dothraki. So you have
When
to
she's
assume-
talking to them all.
Yeah, but she might be talking to the other one in Dothraki now that she's like decent at it.
Does
But
Jorah
yeah,
know Dothraki?
it doesn't matter. Some of them know it.
I think he knows
I think he
some.
knows
Yeah,
some.
I don't know if he knows
enough
it
to
all.
get by. But yeah, so like definitely some of her handmaidens know, and they're like they got to be near her, like basically with her right here, because like somebody else said, she's about to get off her horse, and it says like when Kaloho or whatever comes up, her handmaids are right there with her.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right, Kyle. He's definitely saying this around people who know what he's saying.
He thinks, and he's being a smart little shit about it. He thinks nobody does. Like, but I'm sure there's people, some of the quote unquote savages that do.
Well, they probably hear his tone too.
Or even like,
he's
what
looking
he does at the end of the chapter. Like even if they don't know what he's saying, they saw what like he like attacked Dany. Like any of his handmaids could tell. Like maybe if Dany's not gonna tell Drogo that, but if her handmaids tell Drogo that, like he's fucked.
Well, that's what she says to him. She's like, "You better hope no one fucking says
Well,
something."
Let's not get so far ahead though.
Okay. So he walks away. When he walks away, Jorah basically agrees with everything he says. Like, the Dothraki don't build anything; they just basically steal stuff from other people. And then he kind of explains like that even her, like Dany, wasn't like a trade the way Viserys thinks it is.
Yeah, it's a gift.
Like she was a gift, and then Illyrio gave her as a gift, knowing that the Dothraki like traditions would
Return a gift.
expect a gift in return, but it's not like, hey, I gave you this, you owe me something. It's, hey, we gave you this. Whenever you're ready, give me something back. That's why Viserys is like pushing for like, I need my army now, and it's like that's not going to happen. It's going to be whenever they're ready on their terms. And she asked, we kind of touched on it earlier, but she asked like how the Dothraki would do in a battle in Westeros, and like what's Jorah's basic.
I'd pretty much remember this. Jorah was like, when I first got here and I just saw some people on horses kind of just riding around, I was like, 1,000, well-trained knights in Westeros would be able to take 10 times more Dothraki down. And then he was like, after watching them, like how good they are with their bow and arrow and not being stationary but riding on the horse, or just like fucking going full speed on the horse, like they would take out any other archers, and they're just like fearless, and like 40,000 Dothraki would just go into battle like not giving a shit if they lived or not, where 40,000, an army made up of 40,000 would be like some knights, but most of them would be farmers and just people from the cities who just got spears, and they would run for the hills, once these Dothraki start screaming at them.
That was like the big.
Yeah, that's what
trying
they
to
said.
drive that
Rhaegar's
home,
army did.
Yeah, and I think his point there was like Rhaegar's army. Sure, they had 10,000 cavalry, 5,000 archers. The Dothraki basically have 20,000 cavalry archers, or 40,000 cavalry archers. Like they all do it all. They're all going to be leading the charge. They're all going to be doing bows and arrows. Like 40,000 arrows coming down at you at once. Like that takes a huge chunk out of your army just like right there at the get go. And if you can just circle and just shoot arrows and circle and shoot arrows, you're just tearing an army apart. But the Westerosi have something that the Dothraki don't, and that they can hide in their castles.
They have
and
no
Dany
siege
asked, like,
players. I forget what he said. Siege something.
Yeah, like siege warfare or whatever. But Dany asked, like, would Robert Baratheon like do that? And what's Jorah say?
So Jorah basically says
Robert
that
Baratheon should have been born a Dothraki.
There you go, Jeff. You got it. He should have been born a Dothraki, and basically that he probably would most likely go out and meet him in battle because he thinks there's more honor in fighting in the field than hiding behind walls. And the Dothraki would basically say the same thing.
Yeah, he's not a fool, but he's.
But even though Robert would want to do that, Jorah doesn't think that's what would actually happen, even if she like invaded today.
Because of his little henchman that whisper in his ears.
And he mentioned Stannis, Tywin, and Ned. Those are not the three people that I think have the most pull on Robert right now. But I guess Jorah doesn't really know any better. And he gets pissed off at Ned, and Danny even says something like, "Wow, you really hate that guy, huh?" And Jory says, "He took from me all I loved." Jorah says this.
Yeah.
What did I say?
I thought you said Jory.
No, so then Jorah says, he took from me all I loved for the sake of a few lice-ridden poachers in his precious honor." Sir Jorah said bitterly. From his tone, she could tell his loss still pained him. He changed the subject quickly. So he's pissed at Ned, and he even I think it says he spits when he says Ned's name.
It on stock.
Yeah. Just got a nice lip ran.
And that's when they get to the city.
Bustling.
But I don't know if this is on a coast, because they were saying the Western market is where all the traders from the West come. So that's where they're gonna get food from the Seven Kingdoms, and the Eastern market is where you get shit from Ashai and Karth and stuff to the east of Vaes Dothrak.
I feel like this is a really weird place for people to want to go trade.
Yeah, I mean, it's right by a mountain. Yeah, where's this marketplace? It's got to be near a river, or it's got to be near water or something.
Well, there's got to be some water in the city for it to be a city. But I'm just saying, if I'm trying to sell shit, I'm not going to the horse lords, who do they even have money? Do they care about money? Will they just tell you to fuck off?
All these other civilizations.
Yeah,
they find out you got all this good shit coming in.
Yeah, we'll just go take you over next. I don't know if I would go. I'd probably try and hide from them. But
trade.
Well, so they know that Vaes Dothrak is
a safe land, but
city where they're not going to get killed, and all that. So, and also a lot of them do give them shit so that they don't attack them, like how Illyrio gave them their whole fucking castle.
But I was just saying, if I was going to sell shit,
why do people go to this place to sell shit?
Are the Dothraki buying stuff? Or are they just saying "Hey, thank you, yeah, I'll take that. Thanks for the gift.
Here's 2 slaves. Give me what you got." Probably.
I don't know. I feel like the Dothraki don't have a concept of money, so
that's kind of what we're getting at.
They don't give a shit. They don't understand. So you could probably bamboozle them pretty good, but that might be risky trying to bamboozle
in their own fucking city. No, I think you're going the wrong way there. I think that
I'm saying
the Dothraki from just taking all your shit.
I'm saying they don't have a currency exchange, right? So they sack a city and they have silver bowls and silver I don't know
yeah, they have
jewels.
all that shit, but
how the fuck do they appraise that? How do they appraise that? So if you're a merchant and you know what stuff's worth, you could pull fast one on Dothraki who don't have I'll give you 27,000 coins. It's I'll give you this statue I stole from this city, and you'd be oh yeah, that's worth this much when you know it's worth.
Yeah,
more.
They pull it out and you're just oh my god, you have that? Oh,
you could totally pawn
30,
stars. Yeah, you could exactly. You could pawn stars them that. But I have to carry it around. It's gonna sit in my wagon for 2 months. I don't know, man. You gotta.
Not going. I can't
go
lower than 30,000.
It's the best I can do. Yeah, exactly.
I gotta call in an expert. Hang on.
I don't know. But do we want to talk about the not having weapons in the city? So when they get in, I guess it's when they enter the market. It's when it has to be close to when they enter the market, right?
I thought it was when they got deeper into that the castle.
Oh, you're right. It's when they get to Khal Drogo's palace.
Yeah.
You're right. So I guess they're almost there though, right?
They have swords and weapons in the city, so that goes.
They just go through the. Well, no, because when they take the weapons, they say it's forbidden to.
But I thought it was in that
shed
castle.
blood. They say in the. I'm pretty sure it's in the entire city. They say it's forbidden to shed blood in the shade of the mountain, of the mother of the mountain, or something like that.
Okay.
I think it's that whole place. Yeah. So I think the next part is them getting there, and then the only thing is Jorah tells her that the only people who live in the city permanently are the crones of.
So I didn't want to look up a word this time. So what's crones?
Crones is an old lady.
It's old people. Just old lady. I think that's all.
Old hag kind of thing.
Old hag, yeah.
Just a bunch of old bitches.
Do you know who the crones are?
I don't know.
Do they bring it up at all?
An old woman who is thin and ugly. So
they can't be fat.
Can't be fat. I guess you can't be fat. That's the definition of crone. Yeah, so they turn over the weapons. They get there. Kaloha
Coloholo.
Kaholo. Kaholo comes to get her as her handmaidens are helping her off the horse. He was one of the 3 blood riders. Danny thought he was like the nicest one.
That's the old guy.
Let's
with the
talk about
crooked
what blood
nose and no
riders have to
teeth,
do.
Right?
Yeah, Kyle, what'd you get about blood riders out of this?
Well, I mean, their life is connected to their Calazar, right?
Just
The
the cow.
To the cow. Calazar is the group. That's what I meant was the cow, but yeah, I said the wrong word.
They call him like they
It's a
call
Game
it
of
to the
Thrones
blood
word.
of
Don't
my
worry
blood.
about it.
Blood of my blood. Yeah, exactly. So if the cow dies, then they all have to kill themselves.
Unless
well, no, not unless they have to try and avenge the cow, and then they kill themselves.
yeah.
And then it.
But
Then
if
they
they
kill
die, I bet the cow doesn't kill himself. Let me throw that out there.
Probably true. He probably just gets
I
a
I
new
think that
one.
only goes
Yep.
one way, and I think that's bullshit.
He probably
It
gets
is
a
pretty
new one.
one
Just a
way.
one-way
He's
road to
expecting a
suicide.
little bit more out of them than they are of him, you know.
He's the cow, though.
I guess.
But yeah,
it's
I
like
guess
she
some of them
Danny equates it kind of to the Kingsguard.
kind of,
She
but
starts
fuck the
talking about some
Kingsguard
bullshit.
because
Yeah.
She
one
says
of
fuck the
them's-
Kingsguard because Jamie stabbed her dad in the back, and the other one Barristan switched sides to Rob.
Yeah,
to
but
be
we just
Robert's
talked
Kingsguard
about that
anyway.
the other week too, and I mean, I think I'm like he was in it like serving the king, and like now it's a new king.
Yeah, he was Ned's counterexample for when he wanted to kill Robert. Of like, he's like,
Robert showed him.
Barristan used to be on the other side, and then you treated his wounds and accepted him to your Kingsguard.
Yeah.
He's like, I will not punish someone for fighting bravely and loyally.
Who did he want
Right.
to kill?
Barristan. Ned was saying like Barristan fought for
Yeah,
Ares.
The from wanting to kill who though? You said the other side of that.
Ares and Robert were fighting at war,
Yeah.
and Barristan was fighting for Ares.
You said he was the counterpoint to when
when
somebody
he was talking about killing Danny.
Okay.
Yeah. He said you showed.
He said you showed mercy for
mercy,
Barristan
yeah,
here.
yeah.
Like, why would you need to kill Danny? Like, he fought for the Targaryens, and Danny's not even really fighting. She just is one. Was kind of what he was saying, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah. So then basically what Kaholo comes to tell him is Drogo, whose blood of my blood, commands me to tell you that he must ascend the Mother of Mountains this night, to sacrifice to the gods for his safe return.
What do you think they're killing? A horse?
I thought like a goat.
Person?
Yeah, I was
Maybe
wondering
a
the
horse.
same thing.
I was thinking a goat.
But Danny's happy because she's not gonna get fucked tonight.
Yeah, she says that ever since she got pregnant, Drogo's been even hornier.
Going rough.
So, but they also only men are allowed on the mountain. So yeah, Danny's gonna be by herself tonight. So she gets back. This when she gets back to her tent and she's like chilling with her handmaids. She tells Doria, who is the Lyseni girl, so the non-Dothraki girl,
The girl that banged
Viserys.
Viserys and
She tells
Pentos.
she tells her to go get Viserys and invite him to dinner.
So what
He
did
tells
she
Eerie
say?
to
I
go-
didn't feel like looking back.
Commanded. She said invite.
She
I
said
invite him for sup.
And then
but-
that dumb bitch said
but
commanded.
Doria says commands. Yeah.
Invite him to sup with me. So she said command because like she's a fucking slave and she's
Yeah.
serving the commander of like the commander's wife, I guess, you know? Like so it's a command.
She definitely worded
She's
it
right.
poorly. She could have said like she commanded me to come tell you.
well, so
to
she probably
ask-
doesn't like him either. Like,
I mean,
I don't know, he dicked her down.
Where she's at, the dynamic is that essentially, I'm going to say that she's the queen, which is
Right.
Calazar, but she's the queen, and when the
Khaleesi.
queen asks something, it's actually a command.
But
That's just royalty.
I get what you're saying, and I think she is in her right by saying command. I think if I was her and I knew Viserys, which she does, and Danny says go tell him to go invite him, I would go invite him. You know what I mean? Like I think you're in your right to do either way. I think you're good
But
either
which
way.
way
You
is
don't
she
have.
trained,
I'm
though?
saying you don't have to say command
she's
here.
She's been around for how long, and she's a slave for how long? So she's trained to speak.
Yeah, but
as
know
a
your
master
opponent,
that way.
Know your opponent. You got to know who you're talking to. And if
Well,
Danny
fuck
gives you the
Viserys
out,
or
if
Viserys,
Danny gives
whatever
you
the
the
fuck
out
you
of,
say
you
his
can
name
say.
is. No, like I mean, she's probably saying fuck this dude too.
I think she
Maybe
was
she
being
did it
like a
on
bitch. She was
purpose.
like, "Yo, Danny commands you to go fucking
Yeah,
dinner,"
like
and then
because she's in
that's
fucking charge of you.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. I
you
think
need to know your place
she could
here.
have had some a little tone to her. I could see
So
that.
Glow, I don't see it. I don't understand your position. What's your stance on
I'm
this?
my stance is I don't know. I don't really know. I can see both sides. I could see her giving two to him, but I could also see she's just not thinking, "Hey, I'm a slave who's trained to say command and
Okay.
for the superior."
I could see it either way. I could see it either way.
It's a moot point.
Wasn't she the one who was taught him to teach him sex though? Like, has she been really giving command? She's just been getting fucked most of her life. She hasn't been like a slave, like a servant in this way. But I don't know. I can see both. I see your point.
Yeah.
So, she lays out the clothes that she got for him while she's gone. What do you guys remember the clothes?
It was
A white tunic,
Yeah,
lace
like
up
a
the
light
knee
tunic.
sandals.
So I don't know what this looks like. I'm
a
trying
bronze
to picture
belt.
It says a thin white linen leggings and tunic.
which sounds kind of like a
Just like
Westeros outfit.
or just like the Egyptian kind of
I was
old Mesopotamian era or area where it's like loose,
Light-
But she gets him a
white
she
clothes.
gets him a,
Yeah.
okay, that's what I thought, but she gets him a vest too. So does the vest go over top that?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
So I was kind of thinking like
I was thinking like what Captain Jack Sparrow wears underneath, like what pirates wear. It's like it's a silky texture. It's not cotton. It's like silky, but it's like loose on your.
Well, yeah. I mean, didn't you play like Assassin's
Sea
Creed
of Thieves?
Odyssey or anything? Like, I mean, those people all wear that kind of shit. It was like a
Okay, I was just making
loose
sure I was thinking the right
desert.
thing.
You want sun coverage, but you want it to be breathable. Like
When I think most Dothraki, I just think I'm going bare chested.
Yeah, just wearing like a
Well, they
little,
might,
like
yeah.
a vest with no
but they
shirt
probably have
underneath it.
options,
Yeah,
leather
as well,
vest.
I guess. Like,
Yeah, I
they
think
probably
a
had
vest.
shirts available.
Okay. All
And
right.
some
So what happens
foreskin
when
shorts. That's
when
what I wanna
Dorea
rock.
brings Viserys back, Jeff?
Viserys just like has her by the fucking arm, like already punched her in the face, throws her on the ground. Like, how dare you bring this slut to command me to come eat with you, you bitch? And
And Dorea admits to saying command. Danny's like, "What'd you say?" And she's like, "I said command."
Danny was like, "Oh no, it was just an invitation. I'm sorry, brother. Like, look what I made you." And he's like, "Fuck this horse manure smelling clothes. I don't need your bullshit. And I'm the dragon. You're a piece of shit slut."
So this is when she kind of freaks out. She says, "Please, you'll be cooler and more comfortable." And I thought maybe if you dress like them, the Dothraki then did not know how to say it without waking his dragon. Next, you'll want to braid my hair. I'd never. Why was he always so cruel? She had only wanted to help. You have no right to a braid. You have won no victories yet. Go ahead.
boom, yeah,
So does
that's
anybody-
cutthroat.
So-
Yeah, well, first off, she's finally getting back.
This
at
is a
him here.
ballsy comment, but it seems like she's afraid here. Like, it doesn't seem like she doesn't
At
have an inner
first.
thought like, I'm gonna go own this dude right now. She's like,
She's
"Why is
also
he so
afraid, but
bad?
that's like
Blah,
the
blah."
biggest bomb she's ever dropped on him.
This
Like,
is
no,
her.
you're a pussy.
This is her learning to stand up for herself. That's what the last chapter was as well.
She did a lot
Obviously,
last, yeah.
But what I was going to start with is does anybody look respectable in a fucking vest with painted fire-breathing dragons on the back of it? Like, let's be real.
It could be cool.
It could be cool. Now, so do
Nelson
you have
would
one of them in
rock
your
it.
closet?
If everyone else is wearing it, right? Like you get say hypothetically, say you live in a northeastern community and you buy a cowboy hat. You stand out because you're wearing a cowboy hat and no one else is wearing a cowboy hat. If you live in Texas and you buy a cowboy hat,
You still
it's a
look
cool
like an
it's
idiot.
just a it's
You
just a
still
cool
look like an
cowboy
idiot.
it's just a cool cowboy hat. You know
No,
what I'm
you
saying?
still look like an idiot.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
And then you buy a cowboy hat and you move to New Jersey, you still look like an idiot.
Hey, you get my point. You get my point. Okay. Do we have anything else to say about Viserys here? Or are we moving on?
He grabs her.
Yeah. So Viserys grabs her by the arm and like actually starts hurting her, I guess.
Oh,
'Cause
he
then she-
squeezes that arm hard.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you think? I don't know. He's a bitch. I feel like he'd be digging his fingernails in. That's what be.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. It's like yeah.
He's probably got long ass fingernails too.
That's how I pictured it actually too. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you're right.
That's
And
how
she
I
tells
pictured-
him that these are clothes fit for a cow, and he's like, "I'm not some like savage lord. I'm a king." And he's like, "If you before he grabs her arm, he's like, if you don't think I'm gonna hurt you just because you're pregnant, like you've got a lesson coming."
And then
Which
that's
is
when she grabs.
super fucked up.
Yeah, he's a fucking douchebag, man.
Yeah,
she
and that's
grabs
what she grabs.
the belt. What's
The
it made
bronze
out of?
bronze medallion
Bronze
belt.
medallions.
Yeah,
slices
And
his face.
smacks him
Fucking-
in the face with it. Yeah, cuts him in the cheek. And she says, "You are the one who forgets himself," Dany said to him. "Didn't you learn anything the day in the grass? Leave me now, before I summon my Kaz to drag you out. And pray that Khal Drogo does not hear of this, or he will cut open your belly and feed you your own entrails." Viserys basically just is like, "You're gonna regret this one day, like when I become king."
When I become
Slut.
king, you'll
Slut.
remember to rue this day.
So she gets
Such a
all
little
she gets
bitch.
in a mood after that, and she gives all the nice food that she had made up for
Mhm.
her and Viserys' dinner to the handmaidens, and tells them to give Jory some. Jor, maybe you're right. I keep saying Jory. Jor, I just miss him so much from the last chapter.
Yeah, he gone.
He's
I mean,
dead.
he's not really
He's
that
dead.
major. I mean, he kind of seemed like he was going to be important.
Jory wasn't made. Let's see how many chapters Jory appeared in. A lot. 11. He was already in 11 chapters out of. We're only on 37 right now. So I mean, say
No,
Jory's
no,
important.
I just mean he's not major in the.
Grand
Scheme of
Yeah, I
things.
guess you're
Well,
right.
clearly he's dead halfway through the first book, but I
We miss him anyway. We miss him anyway.
Gone,
mean,
but
by
never
that logic,
forgotten.
Ned can't be that major, right? All right, let's finish this chapter up. So,
She gets all
she gets-
moody and she's like, "I'm not hungry. I'm tired. Go grab me that dragon egg." And she cuddles up with it, puts it on her belly and between her tender little breasts. And I'm just using the adjectives that George used.
Supple.
I don't know if those are those
Supple.
Quivering.
And for the first time, maybe the baby moved.
The babies? Or the baby?
She says if she thinks it like reaches out to like touch the egg, right?
Brother to brother.
Brother to brother.
And she whispered to him, "You're the real dragon."
Or was it the egg?
So I have a unfair advantage of knowing that the dragons come back in the show. Because like
Those three dragons are totally unrelated to these three dragon eggs.
Yeah,
Jory has.
I know, right?
Trust
Can't
me.
be the same thing. I was gonna say that's the unfortunate thing is like that is an even bigger, like more common thing I think than even the like the Ned spoiler. Like that's like everybody knows the dragons come back.
Yeah, I mean that was the whole point of watching the show. Oh my god, dude, they got dragons.
I guess all we
Yeah.
can say is hopefully these spoilers aren't looming over your head. Like these extra knowledge isn't looming over your head for too long, and hopefully we get this stuff out of the way quick. So
No, and I mean I
Get
feel
the
like most of
Uncharted
it
territory.
is like there's definitely obviously been not surprises, but I guess surprises, twists and stuff that I haven't foreseen. So like obviously it's not impacting. It's not like, oh well, I know these 4 plot points, I know the whole thing.
So something else I was thinking that we might want to do, because when I started reading this Dany chapter, it's been like forever since we read a Dany chapter, like probably literally 2.5 months.
Yeah.
Should we, for certain characters like Dany, should we do like last time on Morning Throners, and then give like a recap of where
Little
Dany
recap?
is, and then when we start the next episode, we'll play that same thing for ourselves as a little bit of a refresher,
for ourselves? That's not a bad idea.
and for the audience.
We'll see what our YouTube fans want. Let me ask Kyle a question.
All right, go ahead.
How do you think Khal Drogo reacts to all this nonsense?
Well, I mean, I think especially after our conversation earlier, and so, I mean, like, don't take that the wrong way. Like, I don't think you guys gave me any spoilers. I think it kind of more solidified what I was already kind of on the path to. But the whole, like, it's gonna get back to him. Like, he's gonna find out. Like, they're in his fucking city, so I don't know that he's gonna kill him. But now here I am. I'm like, oh no, they can't kill him yet. But then it's like, well, he probably could kill him now.
Remember, they don't have weapons or anything though.
What are they?
can't-
Yeah, and what are they in the city for? Like, why'd they even come here?
They're there
This
for the
has
marriage.
been their end goal since like their
to
destination
finish
since
the
day one.
marriage, and Visser is looking for an army or 10,000 Dothraki.
Okay.
I mean, maybe he's no longer, and this is Nelson feeding me stuff. Maybe he's no longer gonna give him the army. Maybe we go there. Maybe it's 5,000.
Ooh, half.
5,000 might be enough.
50%. All right, that's a good.
All right, good episode, guys. Good predictions, Kyle. Anything else for this episode?
See you later, Kyle. It's great hanging out, bud.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Kyle.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! See you later, Kyle. Have fun, dude. I hope you don't get COVID. And now, on to the spoilers section of Danny 4. Guys, what are your hot takes here on this set?
I've got more notes for you, Nelly.
I got 2, and that's it.
I got
Nothing
I
4.
only got 1, and we kind of already talked about it. I thought this
got
was a
4.
really boring chapter all around. Danny didn't even have a dream.
Get in your right headspace, okay?
All right, go ahead. I hate
Dude,
it.
I just enjoyed the world building, and I understood everyone that they were talking about. Like,
You guys say something.
when I first
which,
read this
okay, which
chapter,
one
I
of you
didn't
guys
know
has
who
something
the
about a
fuck
shy?
they were talking
Okay,
about.
let's see how fucking generic our bullet points are today. Who's got something about a shy? Raise your hand.
I mean, it was brought
I
up.
didn't, but
Okay,
it's pretty
It
fucking
was just
cool.
statues.
it is cool.
Statues that scared Danny.
And the only thing I have about a shot is Jorah's mentioned it in like maybe every Danny chapter so far.
Yeah. But are we ever actually gonna like go there? Is anything gonna happen in a shy?
No, I don't think so.
I don't either.
I think it's
So my first 2 bullets are kind of the
There.
same. Just like mentioning treachery in the Kingsguard because we know how fucked up the Kingsguard gets once Joffrey and Cersei take over.
I think it's also hinting at Barristan because he's going to be a
Yeah,
character
that
for
was
Danny
the
later.
second part of it, is the mention of Selmy. And
Well, so I also have. I wrote a note too. My thing was too. Don't when Khal Drogo die, the Blood Riders don't kill themselves and they go and
yeah,
start
because
their
they
own
thought
cows.
it was
Khal
dirty
Sars?
blood magic. Yeah, well, the
What?
one does at least.
Well, at
I think
first,
the one joins
And then
Danny.
one joined Danny. I think 2 leave and do
I was thinking
something
about this
else.
kind of as like a technicality because like when he dies, like the first time, like when he's like in a coma and like just kind of like a vegetable. What do they do then? Right, like because he's obviously not a Cal anymore, but he's not dead.
He didn't die. Yeah, maybe
He didn't
that's
die,
the-
but he was not the Cal anymore.
I mean, if Danny
That's
wasn't
when
there,
they
they'd
did.
probably
That's when
give
they
him the mercy
dipped.
kill.
They dipped before he got burned, and he wasn't dead.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, but I don't know. It's a good point. I was thinking the same thing when I read that.
Mine other note was I just have a question of the timeline. So right, not date by date, but Danny is here. Is the next episode or next chapter them eating the heart, and then the next episode killing Viserys?
I thought they were the same
Probably.
chapter.
Or is
She
it-
ate it
Probably.
and he died.
That's gotta be a long chapter then, right?
What was the
Maybe.
what's the final like straw? Why does Cal just say fuck it, I'm killing you?
He draws his sword.
He draws his sword and tries to kill threatens to kill Danny.
Oh yeah.
But it's during the feast that they're having to celebrate Danny eating the heart. So that could be the same
Okay,
chapter.
so it could be
Because
the same
okay,
chapter.
so here's
Yeah, that
here's
makes
what I know.
sense.
This is Danny 4, and there's 10 Danny chapters in this book. We still have to meet Mary Mesdor. That's probably the same chapter Drogo gets hurt. The next chapter is him like kind of hurt. The next chapter has to be him like having his
Falling over.
falling over, and then probably the ritual thing.
Yeah.
And then 10 is her having the dragons. That's 4 chapters, so we cannot be chilling here long. So
I'm pretty sure
it's
the
probably
chapter
it might be the
starts
next
with
chapter.
her. She's
Yeah,
eating
I
the
think you're
heart
right.
at the start of it.
Alright,
Like
so she's probably
it doesn't
eating the
lead
heart.
into it. It's just like she's fucking chewing on a gooey ass heart.
Yeah,
and-
that might be the next chapter.
I had 2 more notes. They mentioned her liking really hot water again. I know we've said it before, and
Oh, she wanted a bath, right?
she wanted a bath, yeah. But she's not like you've mentioned this, Nell. She's not fireproof. Like she's just fire resistant.
Yeah, I mean,
think
yeah,
you
fire
said, 'cause
resistant.
She
I guess.
burns her hair and
I mean,
shit.
even think about Dunk and Egg, right? When they're down, not in Dorne, but they're like down in like the hot parts of the Reach in the middle of that summer.
hmm
Dunk says like how cool Ed, like how Egg, like he's really white, like and like has pale skin, but he walks around like with his shirt off and like is totally fine with the
Yeah.
heat. I mean, he gets his big hat, but like they're just like better in heat, I guess.
the big
than-
hat. I don't know. I forgot what the
big floppy hat, but that was for his head, so his head didn't get burnt because he was bald.
Then my last note is, does she end up grabbing the Viserion dragon egg?
She grabs the green one,
gr-
Rhaegal's green one.
The
Yeah.
Rhaegal's green? Okay. I was gonna say, like, that's fucked up. Like, you're grabbing that egg that you're gonna name after your brother, and you're gonna fucking kill him in the next chapter.
So just like
She doesn't kill him.
so the only thing I had was I still don't understand. Like I'm looking at it from an end game perspective, right? And I would love to hear what anyone who's listening to the spoiler sections has to say, because I'm sure you've read all the books. What is Viserys and Lyra's plot with Dany here? What is like Illyrio Viserys' deal early on, right? When they're in specifically I'm talking about the Arya Dragon Skulls thing, where they're talking about Dany and Viserys, like that's their main goal, right? They're planning on having the Dothraki come to Westeros ASAP. No mention of Aegon. Where does Aegon fit into that plan? And like, what is if Aegon is their end game, which is what it seems at the end of
Yeah,
the
it's kinda
5 books,
weird
what is
'cause
any of this about right now? And one theory I've heard is they never intended on having Viserys do anything. They planned on having Dany get an army, and then hopefully team up
just
with
come find
Aegon
Aegon.
somehow. Like after Aegon is ready, like team up. But it doesn't seem like he was ready early on in a Game of Thrones, which is when they
It
wanted
kinda
the
sounds
Dothraki
like
to attack.
Aegon
So I don't
was
know if that
their
makes
backup
sense.
plan.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm
that's what I
thinking
was
too.
thinking.
But what doesn't make sense about that is most people think for the Aegon theory, Aegon isn't a Targaryen, right? Most people think Aegon is like the son of Illyrio and a Blackfyre woman, and that's why he kind of has claim, and that's why the Golden Company drop everything, right? Because Tyrion says like, why would the Golden Company fight for Aegon? They never break a contract. And Illyrio tells Tyrion some contracts are written in gold, some are written in blood, like kind of saying he's a Blackfyre. That's what the Golden Company were made for. So if he's a Blackfyre, why? Then that kind of takes out the Plan B element, right? Like you, if you're a Blackfyre, you're not working for the Targaryens. They're the Blackfyre's biggest enemy. So it's not like you want Dany Viserys to win and then Aegon's your backup.
Yeah, but at the same time, they're related. How can they really be like their biggest
I
enemies?
mean, there was
they
like
can work together for a little bit. Like the enemy of my enemy is my
I
friend.
mean, but
at
just
this
think about
point,
all the Duncan Egg books are about the Blackfyre rebellions, and now if you're
Yeah, but
if
like
you're
at the same
Illyrio, you have
time,
a chance to just
they're-
like you have a chance to just kill Viserys and Dany and just be like, okay, fuck you guys, Aegon will do it himself, right? Like you do not need them at all at that point. They're
Does
nothing.
Aegon have a better claim than Viserys?
Yeah, he's Rhaegar's son. He's Rhaegar's son.
I guess, but yeah.
Viserys
I
is
mean,
Rhaegar's
Rhaegar was
brother.
never the king, though.
But the line of
But I
succession
understand.
goes.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. I understand. I understand.
What the way this ties into this chapter is one of the things that people think is that if all they care about, if for somehow Illyrio planned and his main goal for Dany was to hatch dragons, somehow he thought Dany could hatch dragons, no one else could, right? And I've kind of talked about this before. When we meet Mary Mazdor, she was trained with Master Marwyn, who's like one of the smartest people in the Citadel, but now she's like a medicine woman for a goat herd. Like that makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
So if maybe she was planted there to help Dany hatch these dragons, and if that was true, and Illyrio doesn't give a shit about Viserys, all he cares about is the dragons, and maybe the Dothraki. It seems like he cares about the Dothraki in his conversation with Varys. But if the dragons are the main goal, then like fuck Viserys, he's like doesn't matter at all. We might get the Dothraki without him anyway. Let's try and kill him off as fast as possible. And I like how we were talking about the whole Doria thing earlier, but she's there because of Illyrio.
Illyrio.
So if she's working for Illyrio, maybe she's trying to piss Viserys off on purpose. There's a point later, I think in the next chapter probably, where Viserys tries to steal the dragon eggs, right? And Jorah comes and tells Dany, and Dany's like, if that's what he wants, if he wants to just take the eggs and go, like that's cool, like let it happen. Dany's fine with it. And then Jorah leaves and comes back with Viserys, and we find out Jorah didn't tell Viserys that. He told Viserys he couldn't go with the eggs, right? Jorah is at this point, probably paid by Illyrio too, right? He told Robert
or Varys,
right? The conjoint that team. So if maybe their goal is get Dany with the Dothraki, get her on her way to see Mary Mazdor, and kill Viserys in the process, just because he's a wild card. Right, he's too rash.
It's just a stupid shit.
So they're trying to do things that'll piss him off because they know if he hurts Dany, he's dead.
Yeah,
that's one theory. I don't know, but maybe that's why Doria changed the invite into a command.
It's a good.
Yeah, it's not a bad point. Right. Do you think if Dany had the baby and Drogo was still alive, Drogo like would just say like "fuck you"? Like I don't really care about you. You gave me my son.
I think you would want more.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, you could get it from anybody, though. You already had it there.
So, the other question I had, and it's not really a spoiler, we probably could have talked about this with Kyle, but since we're running kind of short here, we can talk about it now. Kaholo, the Blood Rider.
I like that name.
He, it says that he became a Blood Rider because he killed let me find the quote. He was the oldest of Drogo's 3 blood riders, a squat, bald man with a crooked nose and a mouthful of broken teeth, shattered by a mace 20 years before, when he saved the young Kalaka from a sellsword who hoped to sell him to his father's enemies. His life had been bound to Drogo's the day her lord husband was born. So, his life was bound to Drogo's the day Drogo was born, but he saved and the Kalaka is that means the
Heir of the call.
There's not really heirs, right? It just goes to the strongest person.
Yeah, but I
Sometimes
mean,
it's not-
Drogo.
it's the son of the
Drogo
call.
seems to believe that
But
his
if he
son's
saved
gonna
the
be.
if he saved the heir, but then was bound to Jorah bound to
When he
Drogo
was
at
born.
Drogo's birth, that would mean he was born after that event. So he saved Drogo's dad, who at that point was the heir.
I guess.
So he's kind of old.
I know you.
I don't think it matters,
Yeah,
except for he's
It
pretty
says he's
old.
40.
He potentially saved, like he was Drogo's dad's age when he was like in peak fighting shape, right? When this happened, he was as old as Drogo's dad, who he saved.
I know you're saying that they don't believe in heirs, but Drogo definitely believes that his son's going to be the heir. The fucking.
Well, that's
what
what
Dro- what-
Miramaz or not Miramaz, the crones tell him.
Well, also what Jorah says is
Dosh Khalid.
what Jorah says about like how inheritance works is when the cow dies, if there's like a clear strongest person in the cows are, then they become the new cow. If not, there's a fight, and whoever wins the fight becomes the cow. So there is no heir, but if you're the cow's son, I'm sure the cow's keeping you in pretty good fucking shape, right?
Yeah.
So that if there is a fight, you win it, and if there's not, you just get the inheritance because you're already assumed to be the baddest ass.
I mean, people would probably just believe if you're like anything older than like a 18-year-old, or I don't even know, like if you're old enough that you could fucking fight and you've been next to your dad, people probably just see you as that strong dude, and unless you just like have bad breeding stock and you're a pussy.
Which probably is unlikely if you're the cow, because cow's always the strongest in the.
Yeah, right.
I mean, depending on the mom.
Yeah, true.
All right. I don't have anything else for this chapter. All I had was that little bit.
Yeah,
So
that's
you
all
got any
really
more
had.
comments there, Jeffrey?
No, it would have been cooler if the egg was Viserion and not Rhaegal, but it'll do.
I thought it was gonna be Drogo.
Why?
again.
Just because of Viserys? This chapter is
Rode on
about
him again.
Viserys.
Yeah, and then Viserys is gonna die next chapter.
Or the chapter after, I'm not sure. But yeah.
All right, let's log off.
All right, thanks
All
for
right,
tuning in, guys.
See you later. Thank you. Like and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. Please comment on iTunes. Apparently, it's very good for us. We'd like to continue that.
Glow loves Apple.
I hate Apple. Go droids, go. We'll see you on the next episode, which is Bran 5, I think. So,
Or maybe
yeah, here we
Bran
go, Bran.
5.
Gonna be wheeling around. So
I think he's riding on Dancer, actually. He meets Osha.
Ooh, Osha, good chapter.
All right, we'll see you in the next one, guys.
Bye.